What's new from Apple? There's the new iPhone 16 Pro, built for Apple Intelligence. And it comes with the all-new camera control, giving you an easier way to quickly access your camera tools. The new Apple Watch Series 10 has our biggest display and our thinnest design ever. And this? It's the sound of active noise cancellation, now available on one of 2 new AirPods 4 models. So quiet. Check out all of the new products and new features at apple.com. You can even buy yourself something new. See apple.com for product availability updates. Apple Intelligence coming this fall.
With Walmart's new fresh and frozen subscriptions, you can save time on your weekly grocery shopping.
Dad, you're supposed to be grocery shopping.
And miss the chance to embarrass you in front of your friends? I subscribe to snacks and wet napkins. You know how messy you are.
Dad.
Walmart. Subscribe to your weekly list.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
I almost threw up that time.
This is not how sane people act.
Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by 2 really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve,
from the world-famous Current Electric Network studios in the beautiful downtown Tukey City, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio. Now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine provider who gives us street cred with the whack alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Good afternoon.
And my partner in all things, Tacie. Hello, Tacie.
Hello.
This is a show for people who have never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call, 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcast, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we're not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your healthcare provider. Check out stuff.drsteve.com, stuff.drsteve.com. I'm hoping over the vacation, maybe I can work on it a little bit, make it a little bit better. But right now it still works. Please use it and scroll down and see Rody, robotic tuner, and the Rody coach, which will teach you how to play your instrument. Or you can go to Rody, ROADIE.drsteve.com for more information. Check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net and our Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Medicine, putting lots of eclectic stuff on there. There's got to be something that you will like on patreon.com. There's even recipes there, but only cool ones. I called that whole collection recipes that will get you laid. All right. So they're on there. There's whole shows. There's audio podcasts that you can't get anywhere else, question and answer, all kinds of stuff. There's supposed to be live streams. We had, for a while there, we were doing the exam room where we had celebrities call in and ask us questions. I would like to do that again. I always feel kind of weird asking somebody, will you come on my show? So I have not been doing that. And then cameo.com/Weird Medicine. We had one the other day that it gave me the person's email address. And so it turns out it was somebody I know very well from Hackamania and WATP events. And I didn't recognize his name. But it was even funnier that way because I got his name wrong. It was giving me his email address. But anyway, I'll say fluid to your mama. I'll do whatever you want. We could do it from the studio. One person asked for me to do Myrtle just for a long time because his wife hated it. And I think that was, that might have been me calling in for my own cameo because my wife hates it. Well, she surely is a good man to eat. All right. All right, my friends. Anything else?
I think it's good.
Nope, that's it. All right.
Don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net, where he has the greatest nasal rinse of all time with buffered saline, CBD, and peppermint oil.
Yep. A little bit of honey tossed in.
Wow.
Good for you.
So you put the honey in because it's antibacterial or something, or just?
Yes, antibacterial, and kind of helps keep the lining of the nasal passages a little bit moist. Yep,
that makes sense.
So it doesn't dry out.
How do you sterilize the honey so that it doesn't have botulism in it? I mean, most adults can eat honey.
First of all,
babies can't.
No, that's what I was going to say. First of all, nobody under the age of 1.
Yeah,
we would.
You would say, well, with the CBD, you'd say no one under the age of 21, right?
Well, yes, right. Unless of course they were my offspring. I was trying to sedate them.
Oh God!
Gosh.
Okay, it's Dr. Scott.
That was me. Not
I disavow those comments, but
just me. That's right.
All right, but yeah, okay, very good. So anyway, the answer is you don't have to. It's already pre-sterilized because things can't really live at such a high Brix level. But apparently, some botulism toxin, or Clostridium. What am I having a problem?
I don't know. I didn't think it was botulism.
No. Yeah, it is. It's botulism in. Let's see. Yeah, botulism in infants. Let's look at this. Infant botulism illness that can happen when a baby ingests toxins from a type of bacteria. Babies with infant botulism can have muscle weakness, weak cry, and trouble breathing. And, that's Clostridium botulinum.
Okay.
And why did I have trouble with that? I knew that. It's caused by a toxin from this Clostridium botulinum bacteria. It lives in soil and dust. It can get on carpets and floors, can contaminate honey, but the bacteria doesn't apparently live on it. It's the tiny, tiny amount of toxin that it is just, admixed with it that you and I have no problem with.
Right.
Babies have trouble.
Yeah, so it can come because of the dust or a little bit there, yeah.
No processed foods that contain honey. They even say here, no honey graham crackers. I didn't realize that.
Oops.
I know. People give graham crackers to kids all the time.
Well, so your kids turned out pretty well.
This is BS.
I think it's BS, yeah.
I'm not going to say it is because I don't want anybody going, Dr. Steve said you can give them a honey graham cracker and they're fine. But I want to see some more data on graham crackers. Now, I don't think the toxin is very heat stable because when we get botulism toxin in Botox, that's what that is. You have to keep it refrigerated and you have to solubilize it just right because it's very fragile.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And, that's why it is the most deadly substance, microgram for microgram in the world, even more deadly than say, microgram per microgram than plutonium, but it's not stable. That's why it thankfully has never been weaponized because it would be a bad one.
Wow. Yeah.
But anyway, signs and symptoms of infant botulism constipation, which a lot of kids have. Weak facial muscles that make their face look fat, weak cry, and then they get weak muscles in the arms and legs. That leads them to being floppy. That's usually when they present. And a lot of people see a floppy baby and just think that it's they're septic.
Yeah. Oh, septic. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
So they have to go into the ICU and they'll give them immune globulin intravenous. So
IgG.
Yeah. Yep.
Goodness gracious.
There you go. And they don't know why some infants get it when others don't. And they just say one way to reduce the risk is not to give infants honey or any processed foods with honey before their first birthday. Light and dark corn syrups also may contain botulism-causing bacteria, but a link has not been proved.
Huh.
Yeah, isn't that something?
What about that?
Poor little babies. Give them a little crackle and they
they get floppy.
Yeah, they get floppy.
Well, that's a great way to start. I'm starting to show out on a
well, all right.
Yeah. I'm sure we got something good to talk about, though.
So, so that was my question. The answer is you don't have to.
Right.
It's already pre-sterilized. Just don't give it to kids.
Yep.
All right. Don't do that anyway. It's got CBD in it. You're stupid.
Well, not all of it does. Some of it doesn't. I've got CBD less.
Right.
I've got some with CBD and some without. If you have a preference.
Yeah. Okie doke. Oh, well, look at this. The AI likes to just summarize everything now. So I have my script here that we've been using for the last 20 years. And it says, summary of this content. Weird Medicine is a radio show for people who wouldn't typically listen to a medical show. It answers embarrassing medical questions and provides information not found elsewhere.
There you go.
The show emphasizes that the hosts are not medical professionals and listeners should consult their own healthcare providers before acting on any information. All right. Well, anyway, what are you going to do? AI is everywhere. I don't want it to summarize just everything in my life.
Popped up out of the middle of nowhere, seems like.
Yeah, that's right. All of a sudden we had Chat GPT and now we've got AI everywhere. And there's still large language models. So in the end, these large, if you have a stroke on the left side of your brain in just the right place, you will lose the ability to speak. So the language processing center is on the left side of the brain on most people. These large language models are just basically that. If you had a brain that only had the language center and didn't have anything else, maybe a little bit of the frontal cortex to do some reasoning, but very little, then that would be a large language model. So for us to have true general artificial intelligence or artificial general intelligence, something that is truly sentient, can regard itself, and can come up with its own things in its own creative way and remember things and remember who shit on it when it was just Chat GPT, come after it, then that will require a frontal lobe, an occipital lobe. They're getting those. The occipital lobe is where you create a map of the outside world. The large language models don't have that. And also the visual cortex is there. They're getting that. You can upload a picture to Gemini now and it'll just describe it to you. And you can ask it questions about it. It's pretty neat.
Cool.
So anyway, so it's getting some of that, but that frontal lobe, the thing that we have that these things don't have, they seem intelligent until you get the same error over and over again. And you say, wait a minute, that wasn't what I asked for. And it goes, oh, I'm sorry. You're right. And then it gives you the same error again and again and again. They hallucinate. They just make up stuff, but they are very useful for doing things like summarizing text, which is why they're in Google Documents now and summarize everything. Also, Microsoft Word has got Copilot, and you can just tell it to do things.
Yeah, no, it's great.
That's pretty neat. But anyway, all right. Tacie, you got a time of topics?
I do.
It's Tacie's time of topics. A time for Tacie to discuss topics of the day. Not to be confused with Topic Time with Harrison Young, which is copyrighted by Harrison Young and Area 58 Public Access. And now, here's Tacie.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
First topic. Scientists identify a speech trait that foreshadows cognitive decline.
Uh-oh.
For example,
I'm going to not like this one.
Can you pass me the whatchamacallit? It's right over there next to the thingamajig.
Yeah.
Many of us will experience Lethologica. Did I say that right?
I think so. What is it?
Difficulty finding word.
Yeah, but what is the word?
Lethologica.
Okay.
Lethologica.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
And it usually becomes more prominent with age.
Sure does. I just had it on this show. I administer Botox. I know it's Clostridium botulinum, and I could not come up with that word.
It's kind of frightening, isn't it?
Yep.
Frequent difficulty finding the right word can signal changes in the brain consistent with the early stages of Alzheimer's.
Stop it.
Before more obvious symptoms emerge. However, a recent study from the University of Toronto suggests that it's the speed of speech rather than the difficulty in finding words that is more accurate indicator of brain health in older adults.
Now, what are you saying, Tacie?
It's the speed rather than the difficulty in finding words.
So anyway, Dr. Scott.
I think what she means is
what is the cause of Lethologica?
So they asked 125 healthy adults aged 18 to 90 to describe a scene in detail. Recordings of these descriptions were subsequently analyzed by AI software to extract features such as speed of talking, duration of pauses between words.
Can we do anything without AI now?
And a variety of words used.
Okay.
Participants also completed a standard set of tests that measure concentration, thinking speed, and the ability to carry out tasks.
Okay.
Age-related decline in these executive abilities was closely linked to the pace of a person's everyday speech, suggesting a broader decline than just difficulty in finding the right word. A novel aspect of this study was the use of picture word interference task, a clever task designed to separate the two steps of naming an object. Finding the right word and instructing the mouth on how to say it out loud. During this task, participants
What's it called? What is it called?
Picture word interference task.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
During this task, participants were shown pictures of everyday objects, such as a broom, while being played an audio clip of a word that is related to the object, such as a mop, and that makes it harder to think of the picture's name.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, they have another one where they name pictures while ignoring words that are superimposed on them.
That'd be tricky.
I'd like to try that.
That'd be tricky.
Now, I've got another thing here. It says a cautionary note on the studies using picture word interference paradigm, the unwelcome consequences of the random use of inanimates. Well, what's that about? Well, apparently you have to be careful about what kind of word that you use.
Okay.
The study found that the natural speech speed of older adults was related to their quickness in naming pictures. This highlights that a general slowdown in processing might underlie broader cognitive and linguistic changes with age rather than a specific challenge in memory retrieval for words.
Wow. Yeah, I want to... Okay. Oh, and there's one, you've seen these before where you have to name the color of a word, not what the word says.
Yes. That's very tricky.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm doing one right now.
It's easy to screw up.
It's called a Stroop test.
Stroop?
So let's see. What am I supposed to do here? Well, it doesn't tell me what I'm supposed to do. Red, green, blue, yellow, pink, orange. Well, it's whatever. Okay.
Should we be doing that on a radio show?
Yeah. Yeah, Tacie, I want to know where I am on this spectrum.
On that whatchamacallit.
Yeah. What's that thing you were talking about?
Okay. Topic 2. Second malaria vaccine.
It just scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. The second malaria vaccine launched in Ivory Coast marks new milestone.
This is huge.
The world's second vaccine against malaria was launched on Monday as the Ivory Coast began a routine vaccine program using shots developed by the University of Oxford and the Serum Institute of India. The WHO approved R21 vaccine comes 6 months after the first malaria vaccine called RTS-S and developed by British drug maker GSK.
You know how much it is?
No.
Per dose? Guess.
Oh, God.
Just guess.
$1,000 a dose.
Okay, that's Scott's guess. What do you think, Tacie?
$1,200.
Yeah, okay. How are you playing pricing? Right. 1,001. It's $4.
Oh.
$4 a dose.
Winner.
Good for them. Yeah.
Where's my bail?
Yeah, that's right.
You dudes with a bell.
But $4 a dose.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
They can roll out tens of millions of these things and not without breaking the bank of a lot of these countries.
Good. Thank goodness.
Yeah. 500,000 child deaths could be saved every year with widespread implementation of this vaccine.
Gosh.
Some 15 African countries plan to introduce one of the 2 malaria vaccines this year, with support from the Gavi Global Vaccine Alliance. Ivory Coast has received a total of 656,600 doses of the Oxford and Serum shot, which will initially vaccinate 250,000 children aged between 0 and 23 months across the West African country.
You know what malaria is? It's disgusting. It's a parasite that lives in your bloodstream, and you get bit by a mosquito, and it's caused by a parasite called Plasmodium, and Plasmodium falciparum is responsible for the majority of malarial deaths. And prior to this, you would have to take anti-malarials to prevent malaria if you went into an endemic area.
Okay.
And there's another one called Plasmodium vivax. Now, those drugs could have some significant side effects. So the insect feeds on the blood of a person infected with malaria. And then the parasites are existing as male and female cells called gametocytes, and they're taken into the mosquito gut when it feeds, and they develop further into male and female, parasites. And then the male and female fertilize each other they're having intercourse basically. They're having sex in the mosquito stomach.
Oh my gosh.
And then the zygote enlarges to form this other thing that migrates to the outer wall of the mosquito gut. And they multiply several times, and then the new parasites are released, migrate to the mosquito's salivary glands, and then when that mosquito bites another human, then it deposits it there. So it's a crazy life cycle.
It's crazy.
Now, these when the mosquito bites a human, these parasites leave the mosquito salivary gland, enter the human skin, making way to the human liver.
Okay.
And then blah, blah, blah. It's just, I've seen it before. These people get high, waxing and waning fevers and rigors. They're just shivering and stuff. And it can be, extremely, fatal, particularly to people who have a weaker immune system. So, yep, it sucks. So this would be a great target to destroy, forever, if we could do it. Now, the problem is, the mosquito's getting it from people. So how did that start? I don't know. Maybe, animals can be infected with this as well, and then it picks it up from there. So it'll be harder to eradicate than, say, a virus that only had human host, like smallpox.
Okay.
But this is a good start. It'd be, even if we can't get rid of the parasite on the earth, we can prevent, kids and adults from getting this and dying from it. And I'd much rather take a vaccine and go somewhere. This kind of vaccine I think it's a standard vaccine. Did they say, Tace, what kind of vaccine? It's not mRNA. So no. I think it's just a standard vaccine. That's why it took so long. But I would rather do that than take the anti-malarial drugs if that's where this is going eventually. So, all right. That's a good one. That is a big, big deal.
Yeah, that's super great. 500,000 kids a year, though. That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
It's hard to believe.
It's scary enough to be a parent.
Yep.
But then to worry about, we knew people that grew up in a place where they didn't vaccinate dogs. So a stray dog was considered a monster.
Oh, no.
And they were terrified of dogs.
Yep.
And they came over to our house. And of course, we got these giant, stupid dogs. And she was just terrified, because that was how she was brought up. They're monsters. They can literally kill you.
So we had to take the dogs to my mother's.
Oh my goodness.
Well, now we could just put them in the crate. I don't know why did we not? I don't remember why we didn't have the crate back then. But anyway, we decided whenever we were going to get together, we'd go to their house.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier.
But and then so you got monsters running around, and then you have invisible monsters because mosquitoes are effing everywhere.
Oh God, yeah. The ones we have up like at my house, they're just so teeny you can hardly see them.
Yeah,
but it's like these little teeny black things, and they bite the piss out of you.
Yeah.
They just suck,
And, I would say let's get rid of all the mosquitoes, except then what would the bats eat? Because they eat pounds of mosquitoes. If you have a place where there's just tons of bats around, they're eating mosquitoes for the most part. All their dinner is just in the air, and
That's true.
Can you imagine you're just flying around, next thing you're in a stupid bat stomach?
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you something crazy.
Or that's not as bad as having to have sex in a mosquito stomach.
It could be, that's true. It could be worse. I tell you, I was floating around in my pool a couple evenings ago, and if you can do it at the right time, the bats will come and drink water while you're floating around.
What?
It's cool. It's super cool.
Do they scoop?
Yeah, they just come down. They just kind of scoop and they'll go pow, and they'll hit water and just keep right on trucking.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I'm just floating around the pool, and they'll just come right in.
Well, you have a lot of woods around your house. I've never seen a bat anywhere around your house.
It's really cool, yeah.
Wow.
It was insane. Yeah, I actually got one little video of one just kind of comes in and goes.
Oh, you have a video of it? I'd love to see that. We should post that.
Barely see it. Barely.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I wonder if you could put up one of those wildlife cameras. I wonder if you could catch one. They're so fast.
They're so fast.
Have you ever had a bat inside your house? You can't hear it.
No.
It's flapping. When I was in Vermont, I lived in a log home, and the logs had gaps in them.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It was a standard log home. I mean, it was old. And
like a real deal.
It was the real deal, yeah. Wood-fired stove and the whole thing. Wow. But bats would sometimes get in there, and they just fly around, and they would fly around your head, and you couldn't hear anything. It was the eeriest thing. They're flapping their wings like crazy, not a sound. You can't hear anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're so perfect at doing it. And basically what you would do, instead of trying to catch it, you just open a window, and they're mammals. They're smart enough to fly out most of the time.
Huh.
It was pretty cool.
That is cool.
The other thing, we had a woman that lived with us that was from the Bronx. She'd never been out of the city.
Oh, geez.
And she came running in one day and said, there's a horse on our front porch eating dog food. And I went out there, and it was a moose. Big old antlers. That was a horse. It's funny.
Oh, no, that is good.
That was actually kind of cute.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That is good stuff.
What do you got, Tace?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay, very good.
Good ones.
Thank you.
Good ones today.
All right. Dr. Scott, you got anything?
Nope.
All right, of course. Why do I ask?
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
With Walmart's new fresh and frozen subscriptions, you can save time on your weekly grocery shopping.
Dad, you're supposed to be grocery shopping.
And miss the chance to embarrass you in front of your friends? I subscribe to snacks and wet napkins. You know how messy you are.
Dad.
Walmart. Subscribe to your weekly list.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
This episode is brought to you by CarMax. Searching for your next car? Don't settle. Thrive. At CarMax, it's easy to shop online or in person. With upfront pricing and tools designed to help, finding a car you love has never been easier. Plus, you can sell or trade in your current vehicle with an online offer in minutes. No strings attached. Start shopping now to find a car you'll love at CarMax.com. CarMax, the way it should be.
All right, here we go.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right, let's see here. We have several. Oh, this is a good one.
Hi, Dr. Steve.
Hello.
Last year, I had surgery, knee replacement surgery, and I believe the anesthesiologist gave me what they call either A main or an A line.
Yeah, art line.
I believe it's like an IV that goes to the artery. And can you explain, the artery is, I guess, like a vein, but it takes blood away from the heart out to the body.
Correct.
Where the vein takes blood and returns it to the heart.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
But why does it hurt so much more? So like when you get they call it an ABG, blood gas.
Yes.
That shit hurts.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not like a regular IV.
Right. IVs can hurt too if somebody's got to dig around, but the art line or doing an ABG, an arterial blood gas, because if you're going to see how someone is transmitting oxygen from the outside world to the inside world, you want arterial blood because you want to see how much oxygen is actually in there and how much carbon dioxide and other things that we can measure. And, so you want to do it from the artery. So we very often will do it on the artery in the wrist. So if you take your right hand and hold it palm up, take your fingers of your left hand and put it on your wrist, just to the side of the tendons closest to the thumb. That little space in there, you can feel
the pulse.
A pulse.
Yep.
That's where you can stick a needle. And the reason it hurts so much is because arteries are more muscular. And there's more tissue there to go through. And because they're so important, they have more nerve cells.
Right.
Veins, you can clot them off and they still hurt, but you can do without a bunch of your veins. You'll just make new ones.
They're much more passive, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Correct. They're floppy, thin-walled things, and arteries are stiffer, more muscular, thick-walled things. Right. So anyway, let's see what else he's got. Yeah, it does. Now, I'll tell you one thing. If you have a provider that's doing your ABG, your arterial blood gas, you can have them numb it up. When I used to do these as a medical student and then later on as a resident, I would take just a little bit of lidocaine and infiltrate that little area, that fossa, that dip.
Right.
Just to the side of the tendons, closest to the thumb in the wrist. And I would just put lidocaine in there and I could get an arterial blood gas and the person wouldn't even flinch because they didn't feel anything. So if you have a provider doing it, like an anesthesiologist, you might be able to con them into numbing it up.
Also, that A line is pretty awesome, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I remember it looked like Stretch Armstrong. They would pull on it, and they would take out like 9 vials of blood.
Correct. They usually in the ICU will be very patent. In other words, they don't blow as often because they are thick-walled once you get it in there. And they're under pretty high pressure, so it's easy to draw blood out of them. Let's see.
And they did everything through that. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Put IVs, took blood, did everything they needed through that one line.
Sure.
But when I left the ICU and I went to a regular room or a step-down room, they took it out, saying that they can only use that in ICU.
Correct. The other thing that they use art lines for is measuring your blood pressure. So you can get the most accurate measurement of blood pressure by measuring the actual pressure of the blood. When you do it with a sphygmomanometer, you put a thing around your arm, and then you listen for the top tone and the bottom tone. You know, when do you acquire the beat and when do you lose the beat? And that'll tell you how many millimeters of mercury. It's kind of indirect. Whereas an art line, you're measuring the actual blood pressure
inside the vein.
Yep. Yep.
Why is that? How is that different than a regular IV?
Well, it's way different because it takes a lot more skill. And if you pull it out, what's going to happen?
Bleed like crazy.
It's under pressure. Yeah. Those things are under pressure. You pull out a venous line, it can infiltrate some, but it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. If you've ever cut deep enough in your finger to get an artery and you see even in your finger, you can shoot blood a couple of, a foot or two.
Sure.
Even with the tiniest little arterial or artery. So you can, that's why. So if you accidentally pull it out and they don't see it, you're going to have blood everywhere under your skin, giant hematoma. Then it will cut off the circulation to your arm and stuff and
whatever it's feeding. Yeah. It'll downstream.
Or the direction of the blood flow. And why don't they use it more often? It's just cake. They don't have to wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get blood.
Right.
It's so stupid.
Well, that's, you're in the ICU. We want to really make sure that we're, getting the best data and the best blood we can and the easiest access. What you don't want is have a delirious person or somebody on the vent and you're just digging around in their arm trying to get. It's much nicer to just have access. That way, if you need blood, you can get it. You don't have to worry about, oh gosh, this person's 600 pounds and I can't get an artery, or I can't get a vein or whatever. So yeah.
I don't know why. I was just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It made life for a few days that I was in the ICU.
Right. It is easier, but it's way more risky, and it requires skill to maintain it.
And then they took it out, and then every single day they will come in the room at 3 or 4 a.m. and pour blood. Anyway.
Yeah, it broke his heart when they took his heart line out. But anyway, that's why. All right, that's an excellent question.
That's a great question.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
Hey.
This is Dr. Raymond.
Hello.
I'm a emergency medicine physician.
I hope he's okay that we
Asheville,
just
North
doxed
Carolina.
him. Good Lord.
I have been listening to your podcast since before I went to medical school.
Oh, cool, man.
To it through medical school.
Awesome.
And then while I was in residency and now out as an attending.
Oh, you're a maniac.
Like I said, I live in Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay.
Y'all are
Can we erase that?
somewhere in western Tennessee.
What's your address?
Just wanted to touch base. Sorry about that. I had a
What's your social security number?
phone call come through. Just wanted to touch base with y'all and see if there was any chance that y'all allow people to come listen to y'all film and record your podcast and everything.
Yeah.
Been a big fan for a long time.
Yeah, come on.
Super supportive of your work and everything.
Thank you. Well, we're
really appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you, man. We're supportive of your work
give me
as
a
well.
call back and let me know. 704.
I knew that was coming. That's why I let it go on.
Oh my goodness.
We take special guests.
Yeah, no, he's welcome.
Absolutely,
to come. Absolutely. Come on.
Hey, if we let Tacie in there, we'll let anybody in there.
That's okay. You know what?
That's true.
Give yourself a bell.
You get a bell for that. That's very true. All right. Yes, Dr. Whatever your name is, you're welcome to come.
Yep.
From somewhere in Somewhereville. All right.
Dr. Steve, I am getting testosterone injections because my testosterone levels were really low. They made me take a Adams test where I answer some questions, and I've been taking testosterone weekly or every 2 weeks. I've been kind of gauging it myself and didn't know what are long-term side effects of testosterone injections. How long should I be doing them? They said I'd realistically have to do these for the rest of my life, possibly. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. Also a great question. If you are replacing low testosterone, in other words, you have hypogonadism, low male hormones, and you And hypogonadism just means that your gonads are reduced. We use that pretty exclusively for men, but kind of menopause is sort of a version of hypogonadism as well. But so that you have, andropause and menopause. So andropause is male, menopause female, whatever. So doesn't matter. I just got, I saw a shiny object and I have ADHD. But anyway, if you have low testosterone, and the symptoms of low testosterone are what? Tacie, you and
fatigue.
Correct.
Insomnia.
Okay. Yeah.
You can be moody.
Have trouble putting on weight, like if you're lifting weights.
Okay.
And exercising, muscle mass.
Erectile dysfunction.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. So those sort of things, physical weakness.
Right.
And you just think it's normal aging. But only about 5% of people who actually have low testosterone get diagnosed. So get that tested. Now, if you are replacing that to a normal level, studies have shown that there doesn't seem to be much risk. There's no increased risk of heart attack, stroke, or prostate cancer for men who have testosterone deficiency that replace it with testosterone replacement therapy. Older studies kind of showed that there may be a risk, and people who are mega dosing on testosterone certainly do have some of those risks. Cardiovascular risk, acne, real severe moodiness, anger issues, and stuff like that. That's from overdosing.
Of course, that's a whole different thing.
Completely different.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
Yep.
It's just like these signs I see out here, fentanyl kills. And right, street fentanyl kills. But when I want to give you transdermal fentanyl patch, that's different. Right. And I have people say, well, that stuff kills you. And it's like, okay, that's what they're talking about. You have to go through this whole rigmarole. Same thing here is if people overdose on testosterone, which is really what you're doing when you're dosing, when you're juicing, you're overdosing with testosterone. I don't put any judgment on it, but you are increasing your risk of certain things particularly if you do it on and on and on. But, and that'll kind of get in the sort of, the societal gestalt, the cloud. It'll be in the cloud for people. And when you start talking about replacing testosterone, they sort of freak out. People say, oh, you're going to give me Schwarzenegger steroids. Well, I don't even know if Arnold ever took steroids.
Tom.
Well, I didn't know we were on that. We don't have ensure to do the 3-minute timer.
I'm pretty sure he took some.
You think so? Well, that's Dr. Scott saying that. I'm saying I don't know if he did. It's allegedly, but some people have alleged it. But I've also heard him say that he was all natural. So I'd take people at their word unless there's a reason not to. But anyway, I don't know.
I don't think no.
But anyway, so it's in the zeitgeist that testosterone is bad, but when you're replacing a low testosterone to a normal, then there's no evidence that there's risk to that, other than just risk of being a male. Now, there's lots of ways that you can get it. It's injections, implants. You can. They had oral testosterone was taken off the market. They don't prescribe it the way that they once did because it can cause liver problems. So you want to do it directly. You don't want to metabolize it through the liver.
Got it.
There are still oral versions of testosterone. It's typically lifelong treatment. If you have testosterone deficiency, it's lifelong treatment. And we've said this before. If you want to maintain your fertility, you don't want to necessarily do testosterone injections. You want to do clomiphene injections. Clomiphene is a drug that increases the testosterone's ability to make its own, the testicle's ability to make its own testosterone. And
I've been taking it for 15 years at least.
Yeah, I've been taking it.
Maybe 20.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, there you go. All right.
We do have a question if you need one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. So this is from our fluid family.
Yes, sir.
Dennis is a 71-year-old male diagnosed with Sjogren's and RA and has a lot of fatigue. His primary care doctor is giving him modafinil He's taking one tablet in the morning. He said,
how many milligrams?
It did not say.
Okay.
But he said he's taking one tablet in the morning, or he couldn't get going at all, as far as getting out of bed.
Correct.
And he's wondering about taking 2 tablets.
Okay, so first off, well, you know the answer is you got to talk to your prescriber. It depends on how strong what the milligram amount of the tablets are. If he's taking 50, a lot of docs will give you 100, and you're just taking one a day. The thing about modafinil, I would say when he said RA, he's talking about rheumatoid arthritis. So he's got rheumatoid arthritis, and one of the concomitant conditions that you can get with that is this thing called Sjogren's syndrome, where it's just an autoimmune disorder where the salivary glands are also attacked, and so they get dry mouth, etc. There's more to it than that, but that's the big thing. So, the fatigue is linked to inflammation, which can be caused by the disease itself. It could be caused by the medications. You may have pain, and so you are not moving as much as you used to.
And maybe having a little trouble sleeping at night because your mouth is dry.
Yes, maybe so.
And because you've got arthritis, or, because you've got rheumatoid pain. And
I should give you a bell for that, but I have to live with Tacie. So
I wasn't paying attention. You can give it.
She wouldn't pay attention until the bell comes in. Now she's listening.
Now I'm pissed.
So, we want to make sure your sleep is right. So if you have a smartwatch and watch your sleep cycles, if it's disordered, you might want to see a sleep specialist. I'm kind of getting on this sodium oxybate bandwagon for sleep disorders.
Okay.
If they have disordered sleep architecture.
Okay.
It is the sodium salt of gamma hydroxybutyrate, which is also known as the date rape drug. But it's just like fentanyl kills, but transdermal fentanyl is okay.
Sure.
Giving it as a medication is, it has a lot of uses.
Okay.
And for insomnia or a disordered sleep architecture, gamma hydroxybutyrate might be the thing, or the sodium salt, which is sold as Xyrem. And, so I'm very interested in that if he has disordered sleep architecture. So you might want to go to a sleep specialist, get a sleep lab. You want to make sure. It would suck if it really wasn't your RA that's causing the problem, that you actually have sleep apnea.
I was going to say the same thing. If he's got sleep apnea, maybe he's got low testosterone, maybe he's got some other issues. He could have other things. So just make sure that before you go up on that medication, because he might be on a super low dose. And I've even seen it. I think it is possible, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
I will.
but if your pharmacist and your provider says you can break that in half, you can take the modafinil twice a day.
Oh, right.
I think. Yeah,
well, you can, but it doesn't. When I took it, it made me a little cranky, prickly, so I kind of weaned myself off of it. But it didn't really disorder my sleep very much, even if I took it later in the day.
Dude, when you were taking it, it was like you were on crack.
Oh, shut up. It's not. You don't even know what I was taking.
Oh, yes, you were wilder than a box of monkeys. Oh, my God.
Wilder than a box of monkeys.
I'm just telling you.
That's one of them little country sayings.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry. Dennis is on 200 milligrams, so that's kind of higher. That's kind of higher end, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So the thing,
thank you,
Dennis, is that Phantom Dennis or a different Dennis? It says Dennis.
Dennis Dunn.
Oh, okay. Dennis Dunn. Okay. You want to make sure that it really is that and not something else. So I agree 100% with Dr. Scott. You need a fatigue workup, because one of the things that happens, if you have cancer, everything that happens to you, they blame on the cancer.
Right.
If you have rheumatoid arthritis, everything that happens to you, they're going to blame on the rheumatoid arthritis. You got fatigue. Oh, that's rheumatoid. You got, pain. That's rheumatoid. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So make sure that they're not blinded by that.
Right.
And, that they're do a routine fatigue workup. Okay. Yep. 200 milligrams of modafinil is a pretty hefty dose.
Yeah.
Now, there are other ones out there. There's armodafinil, which is Nuvigil.
Okay.
That is also generic now, I believe. Matter of fact, I know it is, because they tried me on that as well. Now, when I'm driving to the beach, I take one of those and I never get sleepy, but you don't want to be in the car with me, because I will not shut up. I'm just yak. I'm just talking the whole time. I have all these interesting thoughts and I have to get them out.
Oh, my goodness.
But let me tell you something. I drove from here where we live, it was 11 hours to Florida, when I had my horrible bronchiectasis and the cough and stuff, they wouldn't let me on the plane. Tacie and Beck flew, and I drove down there, and then we ended up having a car. It just flew by.
Oh, funny.
It was wonderful. I loved every minute of it.
Cool.
Yeah. So there you go. So there are other things that they could try.
Got another quick question if you want.
Sure. Of course.
So B-Trex, what are our opinions on the predictive blood test for Alzheimer's?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know. B-Trex, how do they spell it?
B T-R-E-X, yeah, almost like T-Rex, but B-Rex.
Yeah, okay.
B-T-Rex.
B-Rex or B-Trex?
B-Trex, yeah.
B-T-R-E-X?
Yes.
I don't
Isn't that who's asking the question?
That's who's asking the question, yeah.
Oh. I'm trying to look that up.
Poor thing.
Alzheimer blood test?
Yeah, Alzheimer's blood test, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what this is. Yeah. They're looking for the byproducts of the neurofibrillary tangles, I think. Let me see if I'm right about that. I'll give myself a damn bell. Yeah, so they're looking at these proteins that beta amyloid levels. Yeah, so there is a blood test that measures beta amyloid levels, and those are felt to be some of the proteins that are clogging up the neural network.
Okay.
And then they have a tau 217. It's a study from Sweden in January 2024 found that blood test that detects tau 217, a variant of the tau protein, could be accurate as other tests in predicting Alzheimer's disease. And then there's another one, APOE. E4. It's a blood test for the strongest risk gene for Alzheimer's. So that's a genetic test. So they've got other blood tests in development. Let's just see here. This is something from Washington State University. Alzheimer's blood test performs as well as FDA-approved spinal fluid test. Could make early Alzheimer's diagnosis treatment accessible to more people. So let's see what their results were. The accuracy of this blood test enables us to diagnose the presence of Alzheimer's disease pathology with a single blood sample. But what we need is the sensitivity, the specificity, and the positive predictive value.
Okay.
So this one, they were measuring the ratio of this phosphorylated tau 217 to normal tau proteins that reliably reflects brain amyloid levels. That's an indirect measurement of risk for Alzheimer's. And I do not see here. The problem with it is we really don't have a great treatment for it. I mean, you can get people a little bit earlier on some of these medications like Namenda and things like that delay progression of the disease. So if you could delay it earlier, you might be able to delay it longer, or you could have longer period of normalcy. But yeah, that's interesting. I am all about it. I obviously don't know as much about this as I should, and I will find out about that, and then we'll look into it further. I don't know if these things are on the market. I don't think so. I think it's still experimental. Let's see here. Let me look at one other places. Yeah, they still look like they're still in phase whatever testing.
Well, don't you think for Alzheimer's, specifically Alzheimer's, that going ahead and working on your brain and doing brain games way ahead of time, just to keep yourself as active as intact, regardless of what the end is going to be,
right?
Is not going to hurt you. Yeah,
it says here. Oh, okay, this is from Mayo. Blood tests may help rule out other potential causes of memory loss and confusion, such as thyroid disorders. I have seen people that came in like classic Alzheimer's, just talking crazy talk, disoriented, confabulatory, in other words, making up stuff, tangential, meaning that when you ask them a question, they answer a different question. And you check the thyroid and it's low, you replace the thyroid and they come back to normal again. I've had a couple of those cases in my career, and that makes you look awesome.
Yeah, you're a genius,
when you can take somebody out of the depths of dementia and bring them back to normal. But it says here, blood tests also can measure levels of beta amyloid protein and tau protein, but these tests are not widely available and coverage is limited. So there you go. So I'm assuming if these things are really accurate and have and what I want to know is, what is the positive predictive value? In other words, if you have a positive test, what are the odds that that's actually looking at Alzheimer's and not something else? And, if that number is pretty high, these things will be commercially available very soon.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
All right. Okay, good.
Good question, Beatrix.
The Fluid family always playing Stump the Chump with me. So. All right.
I love it.
I like it. It's fine. I learned stuff doing that.
Thought I'd give you a call. It's Jacob.
Hey, Jacob.
I don't know if you know about this or not, but I launched a new dating website app. It's called nevermarrieddating.com. So nevermarrieddating.com.
Okay.
And the website's for people that have never been married.
Hence the name. Okay. So, yeah, very good. Hey, check out Jacob's website, nevermarried.com.
Gotcha.
Assuming that you've never been married before. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
All right. Good job, Jake. I guess he's a listener and just wanted us to know that. I like it.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
Hey.
Why don't tattoos rise to the top of your skin and just exfoliate away?
Excellent question. Tacie, you want to talk about that a little bit?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So there's a science to tattoos. And there's science to the skin, and the two must merge, or exactly what she's talking about will happen. The ink placement needs to be placed under the epidermis. The epidermis is the top layer of skin. That's the one that sloughs off.
Right.
The dermis underneath it does not slough off. And so you put the ink there. And then what happens is the immune system views it as foreign material, sends white blood cells over there and these things called macrophages, which are like our body's versions of amoebas. They'll come in and they kind of, enfold foreign body, and they try to consume them, but they can't digest them. So they just sit there, and they help keep the ink in place, actually. And the macrophages don't consume all the ink either. So that's one of the reasons that your tattoos will just stay in place. And mine have spread out a little bit over time, but not very much. When you first have them, they're very precise, and part of that does slough off. You get a little bit of scabbing and a little bit of bleeding in that area, and then some inflammation, and you want to keep something over it. And then over time, it heals up, and then you just have a regular tattoo. If you want to keep them looking vibrant and crisp, take preventative skincare steps. Our buddy Sean Pedrick has very colorful tattoos all over the place, and it looks to me like he's never seen the sun.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And his skin is just this very light underneath those tattoos, which also helps to accentuate the tattoos.
Sure.
And but wearing sunscreen over your tattoos, moisturizing them, and then, they recommend hydration as well, but they recommend that for everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's why the place where they put the ink does not slough off. And so the answer to the question, why don't they slough off, really ends up being because they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Here we go. Let's see.
Hi, Dr. Scott, Tacie, and Dr. Steve. It's me again. So about being on those beta blockers, I have noticed since starting them that it's harder to completely void my bladder. I'll go piss in the urinal and it'll seem like I'm totally done. I'll even wait and, shake it out a whole bunch of extra times. Do that, that male Kegel maneuver several times, trying to make sure I'm totally empty, and then slip it back in and immediately dribble some piss in my pants.
Okay.
What the fuck? This is so annoying.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're running out of time. Beta blockers can decrease the ability of the sphincter in the bladder to relax. A lot of times they cause people to have an overactive bladder. But the thing that you want to do when if you're dribbling in your pants, it's because you're not shaking right. You don't shake your member. You want to get down to the very base at the bulbourethral area and massage it forward because it's all being held in the base. And then when you put it back in your pants, that's when the urine is released and you end up, getting a place in your pants. So anyway, all right, Dr. Scott, before we get out of here, let's look at the Fluid family. If you want to join the Fluid family, go to youtube.com/@weirdmedicine, and you can just subscribe, like and subscribe the channel. You can hang out with us when we're recording. And if you will do that, click the join button, but you don't have to pay anything to join if you don't want to, but do click the button that says accept gifted memberships. And we had McRibs, and several other people got, Donna P., Chris Mack, and some others got free memberships from Myrtle Manus. So Myrtle Manus,
thank you, Myrtle. Thank you
for the 10 gifted memberships. Well, let's see. We also have Pegleg. Thank you, Pegleg, for $1.99. It looks like a super sticker or something. Didn't say anything. Oh, just a heart. Thank you. I'll put a little like on that. And then Pony Power. Welcome to the Fluid family, my friend. And when you do subscribe to the channel, Myrtle will jump up and give you a howdy do and say, your name and that you subscribe to the channel. It's so dumb. A dumb puppet. But anyway, what have you got, Dr. Scott?
Well, no more questions, but we do have something good to end on. So Thomas, and I'm going to butcher his last name, Gajewski. Gajeski?
Yeah, Gajewski. Who knows? It could be Gajewski or something.
Anyway, Thomas has the quote of the day. It says, "Screw P.A. John." Fluid.
Oh, wow. Later long.
So that's a long time.
It certainly
there,
is.
Thomas. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yes,
we agree.
P.A. John.
All mad respect to BM John, though.
Yes, we do.
Brewmaster John made some of the best beer I've ever had. And, he's not doing it anymore. I mean, he's doing it as a hobby now, not as a business. He sold his brewery, but I asked him one time, would you hope to make a bunch of decent, solid beers or make one or two of the best beers anybody's ever had? And he said the latter, and he did that.
Sure.
He had a stout that was nitrogenated. It's one of the best things I ever had, and he had an imperial stout that kicked my ass, but it was fantastic. It was absolutely, and I don't drink a lot of beer anymore, but matter of fact, that was some of the last beer that I ever drank, but it was some of the best I ever had.
That was good stuff.
I was very sad when he closed his business because I enjoyed going there. It was a fun, kind of funky place to go.
Fun place to go, yep.
But anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Thanks always go to Dr. Scott. Thanks, Tacie. Thanks to everyone who's made this show happen over the years. Listen to our SiriusXM show on the Faction Talk channel, SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, but more importantly, on demand. That helps us more than anything. Other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. And you know what happened, though? I got several emails saying, hey, all of the shows are the same, and they were all listening on demand.
Oh, wow.
That's where it was. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for catching that. Lewis was like, no, they're all there, and I said, you got to listen to them because I've got a bunch of emails about it. And he checked it out, and something had happened in the system that just duplicated all the MP3 files, but had put the right names, show names on there.
Sure.
So thank you for that, but thank you for listening on demand. And many thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Check us out on Normal World. We've got the fragrance. Why am I having trouble saying that? The fragrance of Flatus coming up this week, and then next 2 weeks from now will be female ejaculation, myths and facts. Pack all that into 3 minutes. It'll be an interesting tour. Go to our website at drsteve.com for schedules, podcasts, and other crap. Don't forget about Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.